President Trump expected to sign the measure to reopen the government after 43 days, according to Libby Dean's reporting from the White House. The White House is trying to print the paychecks, the back paychecks for all federal workers here to get those out before the end of the week. One of the questions that's going to be asked in the Oval Office is about the newly released Jeffrey Epstein emails. Democrats are highlighting 3 emails out of thousands that are now public. They say the conversation showed Trump knew Epstein abused young girls. It requires a number of leaps to get there. The first email that they're talking about is in 2011. Epstein wrote to Ghislaine Maxwell, "I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump." Victim, and this was a redacted name by the Democrats, putting victim in there, "spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned." Republicans then released the rest of the email, showing that the woman Trump allegedly spent time with was Virginia Giuffre. For the record, Giuffre previously testified under oath that Donald Trump never did anything with her, never even flirted with her, may not have met him, and Trump never had sex with any of the Epstein victims that she knew about. So timing is everything in politics. Why did the emails come out today? Dare I suggest Democrats lost the shutdown, so now they want something to focus on. Mark Caputo, one of the best source men in Washington, White House Axios reporter, is with us now. And Mark, there's something else going on, right? Which is that there was a Democratic member of the House sworn in today for a replacement seat. And now there's 218 signatures on what they call a discharge petition. So a bill is going to come before the House next week to vote on releasing the Epstein files. Then it goes to the Senate, goes to the White House. That kind of doesn't matter. But does the White House now do to respond to this release?
I think what they've done all along, which is essentially call it a hoax. Now, you have to understand the way they talk about things, the way Trump does. He's not saying that Epstein didn't molest people or wasn't a criminal or a bad guy. But in Trump's world, if anything reflects badly on him, and if it's wrong, he then just calls the whole thing a hoax. He did the same thing with COVID, for instance. And so you're just going to hear them talk more and more about how this is a hoax. This is a partisan Democratic witch hunt. They're probably going to focus as well on one of the emails there that is between Epstein and the journalist and author Michael Wolff, who is a Trump critic, where Wolff is actually giving PR advice to Epstein on how to sort of put Trump in a situation that he could turn to his advantage. You know, why is this author giving PR advice to a pedophile? Is one of the things that I've heard whispered about from the White House, but they haven't come out and said it, but I expect that to happen as well. So it's essentially going to be deny, counter-accuse, downplay, call this a partisan witch hunt.
Well, and that may be true, especially when you listen to what Democrats say about Trump's presidency based on emails that seem to vindicate Donald Trump. Take a listen.
They seem to imply that President Trump had some sort of engagement and involvement with them.
It's absolutely troubling, to see that, and I think we probably need more.
And these emails are clearly extraordinarily explosive. They implicate the president.
Release all the files. If the president has nothing to hide.
I don't think you have somebody trying to hide files around a hoax. We know that there's something there.
That's the act of a guilty conscience.
So, Mark, is it possible that two things are true, and this is sort of why we see both sides playing this, that these Epstein files do not implicate Donald Trump in illegal behavior? We probably would have found that out, and the Biden DOJ would have told us that. But at the same time, he thinks it reflects badly on him, so he wants it done and over.
There's also a third option there, which is that there are people who accuse Donald Trump who are in there, but for which there was not enough evidence for a prior Justice Department, in this case, the Biden Justice Department, to charge him. So that, or actually the Obama Justice Department as well, because the Epstein case sort of unfolded then. And I think the Bush Justice Department, I can't remember exactly when that investigation came to fruition. Actually, it was under Bush. Yeah, it was under Bush. So, that's possible as well. There was one woman at one point who made an accusation against Trump in relation to this case, then recanted. So undoubtedly, or not undoubtedly, but there's a high possibility that that name is in there as well. Doesn't mean it's true, but these are investigative files. Investigative files have all types of accusations that are in there, proven, unproven, groundless, true, the whole tranche. So there are undoubtedly guilty people in there, guilty men, who were never charged and for which there was probably not enough evidence to charge them.
I guess
there
the other way of
also
looking at this,
innocent
though,
people in there.
yeah,
who were
well,
similarly
if there were guilty people, I mean, that's assuming that there are other people who did wrong other than Prince Andrew, and we don't know that because it hasn't been proven. We don't know if there's other guilty people, but I keep coming back to this timing by Democrats, that the Epstein files were this thing that the Trump administration thought they were going to use to their advantage. Then it's flipped, and now Democrats are trying to sort of use it. Obviously, no secret that they did it today because the discharge petition, and then we have the vote next week. What is the calculus in the White House between stepping back and saying, we're not going to touch this, versus continuing to talk about it and therefore continue to give Democrats fodder and then continue to whip against the vote in the House, and then it goes to the Senate and they've got to deal with it there?
Donald Trump had made the decision not to release these files. And so the White House just has to live with that. And if that means they have to jump on a grenade and blow up, then that's what's going to happen. And so far today, it obviously didn't go well. And this is a good example of why, kind of linking back to what I was saying earlier, Trump doesn't want the Epstein files released because, as you had said in your intro here, that his name is mentioned in an email with Jeffrey Epstein, and that has just caused this sort of salacious explosion of all these headlines. These investigative files, which have a lot more information in there, could potentially have a lot more uncomfortable info that he just doesn't want out. And it's not just Trump. There are other people.
There's lots of other people.
Epstein ran a lot as well. Yeah, we don't know the numbers of them, but the statistics indicate that there are other suspects in this case and that some of them could be very powerful people.
All right. Mark, excellent reporting as always. We're smarter when we listen to you. Thank you very much. More from Mark and Axios tomorrow morning.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.